Hello. Don't need these today. You might wonder why. Oh yeah, that's right, I'm going to start some background stuff. Here we go. Okay. As opposed to what I normally do, which is create some music on the fly and all the rest of it, today I thought I'd talk about something. I thought I'd talk about basically song construction, music construction, basically the shape of tunes and things like that. Because not an awful lot of people seem to think about that a lot. Now, I could be wrong. Could be that you think about it all the time. But my experience has been, both in general music and in electronic music, the majority of people just follow the set patterns that already exist. You don't get an awful lot of people going outside of a normal construction or outside of a normal structure of a track, really. What does this mean? Well, it means like in, say, pop music or in a song, people will generally go verse, chorus, bridge, and then basically a verse, chorus, or just a chorus at the end. And that's it. That's basically the construction that most people will go with a normal kind of pop tune or a rock tune or whatever you're doing tune. But if you're doing electronic music, a lot of that actually ends up being even simpler than that in a way, because instead of like a few different sections which glue together in certain ways, you end up with a lot of the time just the one section with pieces removed, pieces added, and other complementary things coming in. So the construction is actually not so much construction as it is kind of removing elements, putting elements back in, things like that. So I thought what I'd do first of all is have a look at what construction is, and I'll start with the obvious one. So what I'm going to start with really is what's called sonata form, and that is what's called, as it says there, it's AABA. So you take one motif or melodic idea or whatever, and then you take that and then you repeat it. But when you repeat it, there's a very good chance it'll be different enough that you won't just be able to go, oh, that's exactly the same. It'll have the same kind of, say, melody, or maybe some of the chords are the same, but it won't be a complete repeat. So say, for example, the first time it's a soft piano playing the melody with some strings behind it, and on the second time it might be a glockenspiel playing it with arpeggios behind it. And then you have B, and B is a completely different, not necessarily completely unrelated, but a very different motif. And then you go back to a similar motif to finish it off. That's standard sonata form. Now that might sound familiar, and the reason that might sound familiar is because I just kind of talked about it. It's actually an awful lot like a pop tune. Verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus. Obviously that's a simplified version, but the pattern's the same. If you think of verse, chorus as one chunk, verse, chorus, something different, verse, chorus. So the sonata form and standard pop music forms are actually really, really similarly related. Obviously, a bit more accurately, it's a bit more like this. So it's a bit more of a babcap, if you see where I'm coming from. I'll just grab a little drink of my tea. There we go. So, yeah, so that's a standard pattern, but it doesn't have to be like that. It can be anything. For example, there's a few here. It could follow any of these patterns. You could do one thing, followed by another thing, followed by another completely different thing, then going back to the second one, then going back to the third one, then going back to the start for the finished section. All these things are valid. Or whatever, as it says at the bottom there, you could do whatever you want. There really are no limits. And I think that's an unfortunate thing, that we seem to be in a position not these days, it's just a general thing really, seem to be in a position where most people don't think outside of the box with this stuff, and they just kind of go, okay, well, this is how music is, this is the way it should be, and if you don't like that, and eat it, But to me, it's like there's a lot of people focus on things like production, Some people focus on the melody as well, but a lot of the time the focus is on production and getting that right. And then the kind of like the actual structure everything fits around in tends to be kind of secondary. Now, I'm not saying I'm completely guiltless of this. I've done it myself, but I've also written things where there's been very much a strong focus on construction. I just tend to not hear it very much a lot of the time. Now, if there are artists out there that do that, then great, I'd love to hear them. I really would. Oh, actually, one thing I'll do, I might stick my earphones back on, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the voice chat, and I can't guarantee anyone else is going to join the voice chat. It'd be nice if someone did, of course, but if they don't, it's not the end of the world either. I'll just gab on myself for a bit, because, you know, I can do that. So some of the stuff that's running in the background is some of the things that, I'll just turn this up a little bit. I did turn it down before, there we go. Is some of the stuff I've written where I've kind of gone a bit more off the wall with, you know, construction, and they tend to be longer tracks. It's like when I think of like amazing pieces of construction in music, I tend to think of, well, sometimes I think of some of the Autechre stuff, because that stuff can really kind of like go into its own thing and be completely different from when it started by the time it gets to the end. But a lot of the time I think of things like Autobahn by Kraftwerk's an obvious one, and then there's loads and loads of prog rock stuff like Close to the Edge by Yes, Thick as a Brick by God, who's that by? Oh my god, I can't believe I've forgotten the name. Jethro Tull. There we go. Thick as a Brick by Jethro Tull. Brilliant track. It's 20 odd minutes long. That's part one. Thick as a Brick. But the whole thing is that for me, it turns music into more of a journey, rather than just, oh, I've heard a minute of this track, I know what's going to happen now, and there might be some interesting drops or something like that, but other than that, you're basically kind of done with the track. You kind of know what's going to happen. I think that's unfortunate. I think there's an awful lot more out there that could happen. And that's my challenge to you, anyone who's listening to this, anyone who follows this at all. If you make your own stuff, consider playing with structure a lot more. Even if you just go, okay, well, I'm gonna work on 3 different sections, and then what I'll do is I'll just bash ABC into a keyboard like that, and then I'll arrange it. I'll see if that works, and then take things away in certain repeats of it, like you would on the sonata form in classical music. I just think there's a lot more out there that could happen, and I think a lot of people aren't stretching themselves in this vein, while they stretch themselves in other ways. That's just my personal opinion, and I'd love to be wrong. So point me in the direction of artists that do stuff that's a bit more interesting, and I would love to hear it. So, only a short one tonight. I just wanted to have a brief chat about this. I'll be uploading this to YouTube as well anyway. On Tuesday, I'm going to be doing another stream, as I said before. It's going to be ambient black metal this time. I'm going to be doing that on the most metal looking guitar I own, which is my old Parker. I guess the only question I haven't answered for myself is whether I'm going to use the fretless or fretted bass, but if it's black metal, probably the fretted, just because it's going to be a bit more sparky. Yeah, I guess that's me. Peace out and all that stuff, you know. I'll have my tea now. Enjoy your evening.